Kakalosh, Boker Or, Shavua Tov, Masechet Bava Kamma Daf Kuftet Amud Aleph 109a. We are on the Gemara, which is the Gemara just followed the Mishnah. And the Gemara is going to understand how could it be that somebody is going to steal from his father and he cannot find Yorshin to the father to give back the Gizelah. So the Gemara says, Amar Rav Yosef, says Rav Yosef, Afilu la'naki shel tzedakah. If he doesn't find the Yuresh, any other Yuresh to his father, he has to give back the Gizelah to an naki shel tzedakah. Meaning he can't keep it his own. Meaning the guy could say, listen, he's the only son, so he keeps it. No, you have to give it to a kupat tzedakah. Amar Rav Papa says, Tzarich shiomar, when he's giving it to the Gezel tzedakah, he has to say, Ze Gezel avi. This is the Gezel of his father. That's what he has to say. So that says the Gemara, Amai why? Nimchale lenafsheh. All he has to do is be mochel atzmo. At the end of the day, if the father died, he's only Yoresh. If he's only Yoresh, forgive himself. And then he keeps it. And that's it. Milo Tran, did we learn if he's going to forgive on the keren and not on the chomesh, alma bar mechilahu, which means he could be mochel on this. So answers the Gemara, Rabbi Yochanan says Rabbi Yochanan, like I said, on a question, ha Rabbi Yosef Gilile veha Rabbi Akiva. The Mishnah was talking about, right, the Rabbi Yosef Gilile, and right, which basically the previous Mishnah was Rabbi Yosef Gilile. Now we're talking about the Shita of Rabbi Akiva. And as we learned in the Braita, Vim en laish goel lahashiv ha'asham. The Torah is talking about somebody that steals from his friend. And he says, Vim en laish goel, that means if he doesn't have a redeemer, which is a Yoresh, to give back the Asham, right? So he comes and he says, how do you find a person that does not have Goalim? What was the last person you have? Ella begezel agera katuv medaber. A person that comes and he steals from a ger. Basically, the ger is the only one that cannot have a yoresh. You know why? Because even, unfortunately nowadays, right, it happens, for example, somebody marries out. So a person marries out, so the children are goyim. They're not yorshim, right? And even if they convert afterwards, they're still goyim, right? They're still, they're gerim. There's no inheritance. But that person could have brothers and sisters, or parents, or uncles, or cousins. They're the goalim. But that means they're the good ones that are going to be yoresh. They're the ones that are going to take inheritance. But to find a person that doesn't have an inheritance, it's only by a get. Because if not, you could always go back. You could find brothers and sisters. So uncles and aunts, if they don't have uncles, that would mean that if they already passed away, their children so becomes cousins. But meaning if a person is not a ger, he'll always have some type of a goel. There's always going to be something. Since obviously we're talking about a ger. That's what the pasuk is talking about. So imagine a person comes and he steals from a ger. And he swears to the ger. And he says he doesn't swear, but he didn't steal it. And obviously it was sheker. Shama shemet a ger. He finds out that the ger was met, right? He used to bring it up to Yerushalayim. Upaga beoto ger. And then he finds the ger. Uzkafu alav b'milve. He takes it as him like a loan. Umet. And then the ger dies. Zacha halav b'ma shebiyado. So he's going to be zoche b'ma shebiyado. These are the words of Rabbi Yosef Gilile. Rabbi Akiva says, no. En lo takanat sheyotzi gizelo mitachet yado. Yes, take it out. Meaning the only way to have a kapara, according to Rabbi Akiva, is you have to get rid of it. You cannot have it in your hands. That's Shitat Rabbi Akiva. Why? You stole. You cannot benefit from it. I don't care about what goes on with it. You have to make sure it goes somewhere else. You cannot keep it. That's the only way to have a kapara. That's Shitat Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Yosef says, no, you can keep it. No, for sure not. You have to give it to Kupat Tzedakah. That's what he just said. According to Rabbi Yosef Galilei, doesn't matter whether it's going to be for himself or for other people. He could be mochel on the chiyuv to give it back. But according to Rabbi Akiva, there's no difference, right? That in any way, lo matzimachel, you can never forgive it. So according to Rabbi Yosef, even if it's going to be that he's going to be zokef b'milve, which means that he's going to take it 10 hours loan, which means that is beforehand he stole. Now he comes and he says, okay, fine, he stole, but now I'm going to pay you back, but take it as a loan for now. So it's called zikfe b'milve. He was zokef it like a milve instead of a gizelah. The hadik tani, that which we learned zakafo v'le b'milve, to teach you the koach of Rabbi Akiva, the afilu zakafo alav b'milve, en lo takanat shiotzi gezelah tachet yado. Meaning it's a chidush for Rabbi Akiva, that even though now the guy comes and he tells, and he's modeh, he tells the guy, it's true, I swore falsely, and I have to pay you, but take it as a loan for now. And little by little, I'll pay you back. And then the ger dies. still says Rabbi Akiva, there's no mechila. Because remember, if you have a loan and the ger dies, you keep it. Because since there's no yorshim, there's no owner, there's no inheritors, right? There's no heirs, so therefore you keep that. There's no problem. But in this case, the only way to have a kapara according to Rabbi Akiva, you have to get rid of it. You cannot keep it for yourself. That's what he says. Okay, so matkif la Rav Sheshat. So Rav Sheshat comes and he asks the following question. If so, according to Shittat of Yosef Gilileh, Lashmina Lenafsheh, why don't we learn for himself? Which means that he could be mochel himself. Of course, he could be mochel other people. And according to Rabbi Akiva, just teach me that Lashmina Nacherim, that he could not be mochel, and koshker for himself that he could not be mochel. Elamar Rav Sheshat, but rather Rav Sheshat comes and he says everything was of Yosef Gilileh. Have Rabbi Yosef Gilileh. When does Rabbi Yosef Gilileh say that the Bala Gezela could be mochel? La'acherim. Aval lenafsheh, but to he himself, he can never be mochel. Elamai, but why? Zacha hala b'ma shebiyado. He's going to be zocher with that which is in his hands. Mishum de zakvan alav b'milveh, only because he made it in a milveh, which means like this. Remember, according to Shittat Rabbi Yosef, what was the case? The case was he owed money to the ger because he stole from the ger. When he meets the ger, he comes and he's zakvan b'milveh, which means like this. He says, listen, he stole from him $100, so he's taking now a loan of $100. He owes him the $100, but now it's a loan. The second you change it from stealing to a loan, now if the ger dies, what happens? He could keep it. Why? Because now it became, well, yes, but he changed the setting. The setting before was a enough. No, Rava now comes and he's going to say, Have Rabbi Akiva, meaning Rav Sheshat came and he said that the entire thing was of Yosef Gilileh, and he wanted to say that there was Zakfam b'milveh, so therefore there's going to be a difference, right? Now he comes and says, Rava, no, the entire thing is Rabbi Akiva. Ki amar Rabbi Akiva do lo matzi machil. When did Rabbi Akiva say that he cannot be mochel? Only for himself. Meaning that the guy himself cannot be mochel himself, because he was the only kilu guy that had it in his hands. No. Aval acherim, he could be mochel. Meaning he could actually come and he could be mochel, and therefore the Mishnah actually said that it could be mochel in such a case. Okay? Kuftet amubet. Yeah, 109b. Miklal. So therefore, we can infer that Rabbi Yosef Gilileh holds that afilu lenafsheh nami matzi machil. That even to himself, he could also be mochel. Ela gezel hager de kama rachmana. But gezel hager, the Torah says, netina lekohanim hechi mashkach ala. What are we talking about now? He comes and he says, Amar Rava says, Hacha maskino, what are we dealing with? Keshegazal et hager v'nishba lo, he stole from the ger and he swore, umet ger, and then the ger dies, ve'oda, and he's going to be model le'achar mita, after death. Okay, so he says, the be'inna de'odeye k'no Hashem utano lekohanim. Because during the time of the hoda'ah, he already acquired the money of gazul, and he gave it to the kohanim. So that which Rabbi Yosef Gilileh comes and he says that a gazan can be mochel on the chov, it's only when he was modeh before the mitat ger. And therefore, the second that he was modeh, he was chayav to be mashivit gezelah, and it becomes like a halva'ah. And therefore, when he dies, now he acquires it. Okay? Fine. What about gezel agioret now? So by Ravina comes and he says, gezel agioret. A person that comes and he steals from a gioret, and he swears falsely that he didn't steal it. And then after she dies, right, he comes and he says that he admits that he stole it. What's the halacha? Isha marachmana. Does it say man? Right? But it says ve'im en la ish goel. So it's only a man, ve'lo la isha. Or Dilmar, maybe no. Or chedekra, it's the pasuk just said ish, but really bemet, what isha, it's the same thing. Or do you say it's davka? So Amaleh Aharon Ravina says Ravanon to Ravina. That's what we're going to try to bring a proof. Then we learn to the Braita. Right? Ve'im en la ish goel, en li la ish. Isha min. How do we know that it's also the same halacha applies to a woman? As Kishumer, when it says Hashem hamushav la Hashem la kohen, it says la shiva mushav harekan shnayim. In ken if so, matamul lomar ish. What does it come to teach you ish then? He says ish ata tzarich lachzor acharav im yesh lo goalim mimlav. Vekatan i ata tzarich lachzor v'yadua she'en lo goalim. What does it mean like this? Right? To do with an ish, you still meaning a ger that's an ish. You have to still look around. Does he have children or not? Does he have goalim? But a katan, you don't have to look on. Why? Because a katan cannot have a child. So if he's a minor, you don't have to start suspecting maybe he has a child. He's a ger. Ger katan en lo mishpacha. He doesn't have children. He has nothing. So therefore you don't have to check anything. Okay? So Tanu Rabbanan, we're going to try to learn in a Braita, La Hashem La Kohen. What does it mean, La Hashem Mushav, La Hashem La Kohen? Kenao Hashem, Untano La Kohen. He's going to give it to a Kohen Shabbatot Mishmar. So he says, Ataumen, are you going to say La Kohen Shabbatot Mishmar, or Lechol Kohen Shirtzeh, to any Kohen that wants? As Keshu Omer, when it says, Milvad El HaKippurim Hashech Bebo Alav, Harei El Kohen Shabbatot Mishmar, we're already talking about the Kohen, which is in the Mishmar. So Tanu Rabbanan, we learned to the Braita, Harei Chayav Gozel Min HaKohen. Right? Imagine right now, right? He comes and he says, right? Which means that who was the one that stole? The Kohen. No, but the Kohen was the one that stole from the Ger. One more time. Tanu Rabbanan. Hareshaya Gozel Kohen. What happens if the Gozel was a Kohen? And now it comes the time of the Mishmar to the Bet HaMikdash, and he's modeh on the Gezela after the Mitat HaGer. Minayin shelo yomar, how do we know that he should not say, Hoil v'yotze leKohanim, since anyway it goes into the Kohanim, Fareu tachat di, so I have it, so it's going to be mine. No, but that's what we're saying. Well, why don't we say that it goes to the Kohanim? I'm a Kohen. It should go to me. V'dinu, I begezel shel acharim hu zocheh, shel atzmo lo kol sheken. If right now, from Gezel, from other people, he's going to be zochenet, so kol sheken it should be Gozel, he should take her from him. Rabbi Natan Omer b'lashon acher, u'ma davar she'en lo chelek bo ad she'yikanes v'reshuto. Here he doesn't have a chelek until it goes into his reshut. Keshe'yikanes v'reshuto, once it goes into reshut, you can take it out. Davar she'yesh lo, here he does have a chelek already in it. Ad she'yikanes v'reshuto. Mishenichlas v'reshuto, so nobody else can take it away from him. Meaning he should be the only kohen that should be able to take it. So says the Gemara, no. Im amarta b'davar she'en lo chelek bo. If you said on something which does not have a chelek, shekshem she'en lo chelek bo, kach en la'acherim chelek bo. Just like it doesn't have a chelek in it, so to acherim don't have a chelek in it. Tomar begezel shekshem sheyesh lo chelek bo, that just like he has a chelek bo, yesh la'acherim chelek bo. Ela gezelo yotze mitachet mitchalek lechol echad. But what does he have to do? He has to come and divide it between all the kohanim. He takes the gezel that he has and he divides it between all the kohanim in his mishman. Okay? So says the Gemara, what does that mean? The pasuk says that the kohen which is makriv korbanot, he brings it whenever he wants. So therefore, it's shayach to him. So the kohen comes and he stole from the gen. He's allowed to bring an ela hasham. Now, when he's going to bring an ela hasham, again he's zoche in the or and he's zoche in the basar. So how can that be? That means he's gaining from it. Says the Gemara, no. What we're dealing with kohen tameh, which means that he cannot bring it himself. So therefore, he has to give it to Kohen Mishmar, and therefore the kesef is obligated to give to the Kohanim and the Mishmar, but the Kohen Tahor, he could bring it. And then he is Bemet Zoche in the kesef of Gezela. So the Gemara says, 1 second, if we're talking about a Kohen Tameh, davar sheyesh lo chelek bo mi'itle, he doesn't have a chelek. Ela, but rather, atya la Kohen misteh achuzah. We're learning Gezerah Shava, Kohen, and steh achuzah, that just like a Yisrael, which is Makdish achuzato, sedeh achuzato, and he doesn't redeem it, and he sells it, right, to anybody. When it comes Yovel, it goes back to the Kohen Mishmar, and a Kohen cannot come and take it to himself. So too, a Kohen that he steals, he's chayav la'ashiv the gzela lechav Kohanim, and he cannot take it to himself. The Tanyas we learned in the Braita. So basically, we are saying the exact same thing. That basically, he himself cannot come and take it for himself. He has to give it to the other Kohanim. That's what we're saying until now. Achuzato, what does it mean achuzato? What does it come to teach you? Minay l'sadeh yotza lekohanim yovel. How do we know that if it comes out to the kohanim and yovel, ugala echad min kohanim, and one of the kohanim redeem it? Minay shelo yomar. How do we know that he shouldn't say holi yotza lekohanim yovel? Farei tachet di. So it comes out in yovel and it's now it's mine. Sheteh sheli. So imagine somebody comes and he sells a steh achuzah. We know that right afterwards. That's it. When it comes yovel, it doesn't go back to him. It goes to the kohanim. It was a kohen that bought it. So maybe if a Kohen bought it, he says, listen, if it goes out to the Kohanim, I'm a Kohen, I keep it. How do we know? The dinu. If it's other people's, he's going to be zocheh. If it's his himself, he shouldn't be zocheh. What does it mean? Sorry.
Good.
Thank you. Achuzah shelo ve'en zo shelo. It's an achuzah shelo, but it doesn't belong to him. Haketzad. They take it out from him and they divide it between all the kohanim. And that's exactly what happens. Exact same thing, but the gezel. They take it out from him and they divide it between everybody else. I don't know, but now we're going to bring a braita. The braita says, "Minayin lekohen sheba umakriv korbano bechol korbanota bechol et uchol et sheyitzeh." How do we know that if a kohen comes and he makes a neder, korban, whatever it is, it doesn't matter what it is, a chatat, asham, whatever it is, how do we know that he could bring it whenever he wants, even if it's not his turn? Meaning, he's not the Bal Mishmar. He's got a Mishmar once, remember, it's twice a year, right? But he wants to come this week and he wants to do it. So how do we know that he could bring it? What does that mean? What does that mean? He could come whenever he wants. How do we know that he also gets the avodah, which is the basar, and also the or? Remember, the basar and the or of the korban, right? The flesh and the skin go to him. How do we know he gets it? Maybe we could tell him, you know what? You want to bring it, bring it. But who gets the skins and the flesh? The kohanim which are there. No, he keeps it. How do we know he keeps it? What's the case? What happens with the kohen, which is the bala korban is a balmum, which means he can only eat it, but he cannot bring it. So notna lekohen shebeoto mishmar, he's going to come and he's going to bring it, give it to that kohen, right? Because he can't obviously do it. That means so he has to make a shaliach. But nevertheless, since he's fitting for achila, so therefore avodata ve'ora shelo, he still gets it, right? Ve'im haya zaken o chole.
Only or sharing?
No, he gets it 100%. Ve'im haya zaken o chole. Now, if the kohen makriv, right? Sorry, the kohen that was bringing this korban was a zaken o chole, which means that he's fitting for avodah, but he cannot eat it. Because the Gemara is going to say why. Notna lechol kohen shirtzeh. He gives it to whichever kohen that he wants. Then it goes to the Anshe Mishmar. And then the Gemara is going to go into what type of a zaken, a chole, or whatever it is. Not, which one were we talking about exactly?